Hi, along the lines of answering questions today, we've got a question from Austin McKenzie. Hi, Joe. I like to Airbnb my home while I'm away. The HOA said that they do not allow Airbnb for the following reasons. What would you do? Any opinions, even opposing opinions, are welcome. It looks like the HOA is saying you're not allowed to run a business from the home. The HOA bylaws are for single family occupants only. Um, yeah, you're not going to be able to get away with running an Airbnb. That's why actually we do run into this problem with clients that buy, investors that buy into condominium and HOA associations hoping to make it into a rental. Well, a lot of condominiums and HOAs actually restrict rental properties. Not a lot, but there are certainly ones here in Philadelphia. Uh, and even more, a very large percentage of HOAs will actually restrict Airbnbs. And I get it. I mean, I wouldn't want to live next to a rental unit. I mean, if the condominium building is mostly folks that are making this their primary home and it's their home, they don't want to live next to tenants who might not care for the property, folks who are a little bit more transient. And Airbnb and short-term rentals are certainly far more transient. Now, as an investor and as I counsel my clients, I'm not opposed to Airbnbs. And the reasons why is because an Airbnb sees cleaning every time the guests leave the property. So as soon as they're done with their vacation rental, a cleaning crew comes in, makes the property brand new again, and which is a very different dynamic than we see with a tenant that's there for a year. So a tenant that's been there for a year can have a pet that can do significant damage over the long haul. They can not clean their sink, they cannot clean their stove, they cannot clean their tub, and those items can actually get permanently damaged from the lack of care. I mean, my one concern, it's never come to haunt us, is with Airbnbs and short-term rentals, is that folks who are just staying there for a weekend don't really care what they flush down your toilet or what they put down your sink. So they're not really just don't care if they're going to dump some bacon grease down your sink. They're not going to care if something gets flushed down the toilet that shouldn't get flushed. But that hasn't come to haunt us. And cleaning a drain and getting it snaked out by a plumber really is not a major expense. So if you're actually making a lot more money running the Airbnb and you just take that into consideration, it's worth the $120 that you might spend, and you probably won't have to spend it, but you might spend over the course of a year pulling a drain out, something out of a drain that shouldn't be there. But yeah, I would definitely steer away from a condominium building if they say no to having a short-term rental. Then definitely I don't really see any way around it. I wish I had better advice for you. It's not something I would personally get into. And that's what scares me about condominium buildings, is because the condominium building can change those rules at any time. They can just decide that no more short-term rentals, and if that's your investment strategy, then you actually now have a real problem. uh, there's also the possibility of them saying no more rentals, or what's one thing that's common is they won't allow you to have more than one tenant in a property over the course of a year. So if you have a tenant that wants to break lease, and they do so after 2 months, then you're going to have a problem with your association. We see that with smaller, nicer buildings, when it's basically like seven units in nicer Rittenhouse Square type properties, to where it's the HOA is dealing with nicer units. They tend to all be rentals, but the owners are really on top of it. And they identified a problem, and they'll write the bylaws in such a way to solve that problem. And if you're going to exacerbate their problem, then you're probably going to find that they're going to be coming after you and coming after you hard.